We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We have what we think is going to be one of the greatest shows that we have ever done. We are going to be speaking today with Michael Pollard, our good friend. We got Mike on, and we can't wait for you guys to see it. We're going to be right back after we check in with Horse Trailer Pros.
Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. John, you said it in the intro before. That's one of the, I would have to say, my favorite shows ever in 6 seasons. Know Michael for many, many years, but boy, do I know him now. And this show, everybody, you've got to just stay on the whole time. I teared up several times. I'm still trying to wipe away the tears. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, any of us in the eventing world, we all know Michael incredibly well. I've known him since I first came out east, and his father, and known him through all of his journeys in life, like we all go through. And the biggest thing that I take away from talking to him today, which you guys are going to get to see here shortly, is he's in such a good place. Like he just came, not that he hasn't always been. Michael's one of the most upbeat, fun, cool people ever. But he just looks, I don't know, like sorry guys, we're all a little woo woo right now, but he just looks so centered and like confident and at peace with where he is.
Well, I think that's what you look like when you do find your universe and your spirit, right? And yeah. I think when you do get centered and get like that, and taking this race and having it change your life is pretty cool.
Yeah. So we will just say that we're going to try to push the show out a little bit earlier, which means we're not going to have any of the stuff from this previous weekend or this weekend of the 16th and 17th of August. As far as competition results, we know that the Nations Cup just happens this weekend over at Arville, and so we wish everybody there good luck, and we apologize that I'm not exactly sure when we're going to be able to get this out, but we're trying to push it out quickly because we just thought Michael was so cool, which means, you know, not that you come to us necessarily for the news, because you guys can get the news, but we're not going to cover the Nations Cup. We're not going to cover the local horse trials this weekend, simply because we want to get to Michael. We want to spend the time on this Mongol Derby. We just think it was pretty magical. So we're gonna do primarily focusing on that. But good luck to the team. Good luck to Leslie, the chef. We know that the U.S. is going to be awesome, and we're going to all be celebrating their great weekend.
Yep. I can't wait to listen back to the show. So I'm going to be watching it soon.
All right. So let's do this. Let's take our break. We'll do a little bit of a short intro here because Michael's interview, we wanted to spend as much time on it as we could so we could hear his whole story. So let's take our break. We're going to check in with all of our great sponsors who make it possible that we can have awesome guests like Michael direct from Mongolia, guys. He's still over there. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back with Michael Pollard.
EquiBrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
EquiBrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order Equibrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
If you're in the horse world, you need to have a good lawyer. Whatever the size of your business, having the best legal support is paramount. Rick and I use our friend and attorney, Yvonne Okrant. She's a partner at Hinshaw & Culberson LLP, which is a national law firm with over 450 attorneys. She's been at this for over 24 years and is licensed in Illinois, Florida, and Wisconsin. Yvonne can help you with contracts for horse purchases, sales and leases, as well as equine activity liability, releases, and training and boarding contracts for individuals and entities. If you need help with a syndicate, she's done over 350 contracts and operating agreements for sport horses in all 3 disciplines. Whatever your legal need is, Yvonne can assist you. Call her at 312-704-3080 or email at yokrant@hinshawlaw.com.
So we just told you all about Yvonne Okrant and wanted to just remind you guys to give her a call if you have any legal needs involving anything in the equine industry. Make sure you use the promo code HORSELAW. That's going to get you a free initial consultation. Again, remember that promo code HORSELAW. You're going to love Yvonne.
Hi, my name is Caroline Pavucci, and I'm here with Jump for Joy. These are one of my key training techniques I use at home. They're extremely easy to use. They're very safe. And the thing I love about it is that they fall down. They have safety cups on them, which are extremely important to me to keep me and the horse safe. I love the fact that Jump for Joy has these type of brush on the jumps. It's a really easy way to teach my young horses how to jump through brush properly. There's not a better jump on the market.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454. Welcome back to the John Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here in the Equibrew segment. Equibrew is an awesome live probiotic. We use it on, well, I use it on all of my horses. I am not going to say that the Mongolian horses all used it. We'll find out about that in a little bit. But it is a great live probiotic. If you guys want to check it out, you go to brickfieldnutrition.com or Equibrew USA, Rick?
.com. You got it, John. Look at you go.
Look at me. And we are really excited, guys, because we got like the person to get right now, the internet sensation, the winner of the Mongol Derby, Michael Pollard. You got the full
Yes.
name. Yeah, man.
I know. Very exciting. I've even got the J this morning. That's very exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, usually with me, it's just Mike. So to get J Michael is a pretty big deal.
And then the J Michael, it's like I'm like a whole new man.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on. How you doing? How you feeling after all that?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'd say the last 2 days, I crashed pretty hard. I finished now almost 4 days ago. First 2 days we were at camp and we were waiting for everybody else to finish. I think that I was pretty like wound up still, I'd say. Not for any reason other than I just had been, it's one thing. I've done a lot of competitions, and it's you know how you get that feeling of not really being able to eat for 3 or 4 days sometimes, and you come home and you crash, and even if you got a bunch of horses at a one day, like you kind of can get through that day, and it takes a day to kind of get over it. 8 straight days of we were able to ride from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, but you're really getting ready to ride by 5:30. You're sleeping in your riding clothes all night. It's like there's never a moment that you're awake that you're not thinking about racing, and that took a couple extra days to get over. And then when I got back to the city here and I could like talk to people and talk to my wife and family, and I've just been like crashed out in the hotel room. I'd love to say that I did go. Hugh Wrigley set up a walking tour of the the Genghis Khan Museum and things. I did that, but I mean, I've pretty much been stuck here in the room and trying to sleep it off, to be quite honest. Productivity is low.
I mean, that seems pretty fair, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Hey, so Michael, why don't we, people watching or
Yeah.
listening, tell us about the competition, because they're hearing about, you just took 4 days and to recuperate. It's a brutal competition. Tell us what it is and
Yeah.
what had to be done.
Yeah, so the Mongol Derby is a 1,000 kilometer horse race on it's 28 stations, so technically 29 horses that all are Mongolian semi-wild horses, and I know that that's kind of thrown around a lot, but the Mongols and the Mongolian people are still a nomadic culture out in the steppe, and they have, it's the horses to people number is like 25 to 1. So there's not the same level of like ground manners and things. It's more that they are a partnership, and the horses are still in herds, semi-wild. So you learn to deal with the horses no matter how they're used to work, no matter how they actually go on the ground and things. So you learn very quickly that the best thing you can do is get moving. They're all quite fit, and they're really good athletes, but it's not the relationship to the horse is kind of a sacred bond between the people and the horses, and it's not as controlled, we'll put it that way. So your best bet is to get them to work right away, and that means that they're all semi-wild. That's the best way to put it. They're not completely unbroke. But when we had our discussion with the vet, the Mongolian vet was like showing us how you bridle them, how you saddle them, how you how you work with them in general. It was like, they don't like to be touched. They don't like to be touched on the ears. They don't like you to touch them on the shoulder. They don't like it when you get behind them. They don't like it when you get in front of them. They don't really like it when you get on them, and they surely don't like it when you're on top of them. So it's like, so what
Got a
do they
couple
like
event horses
exactly?
like
It's
that.
like, yeah, exactly. Well, and then the thing is, like, you're in a race, so it's not like you have time to to make this horse, you're dealing with what you've got, and I think that's really what's kind of cool about it, is that it's really a test of all the different things that we've done, horsemanship wise, riding quality wise, and then you have this whole other element of fitness and endurance. And now they do it with a lottery system, so that every horse you get is drawn out of a hat. So it's not like they can pair you with a horse that's going to work for you. So anyway, this is a long-winded way of me saying that it's 1,000 kilometers on 29 horses you haven't ridden, that may or may not be the type of horse that you would like to ride, and that you're trying to make the best out of what you have in all kinds of different weather conditions, from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. Sometimes camping with families, sometimes making it to horse stations, and it's a race against everyone else and the clock. So it's I would say that grueling is the best way to put it. But through that hardship comes a lot of really cool experiences as well. And you're galloping, often you're galloping 25, 30 kilometers an hour on some of the best, like it looks like horse heaven. There were many times I was galloping around like in the middle of horse herds, with multiple horse herds on either side, along a river, between two giant mountain passes. It's just like ridiculous terrain that you just can't imagine that you actually get to ride on. So it's like the place where, if horses if horses were to die, that's certainly where the heaven would look, I would think. So the way heaven would look for them. So to get to be among that, and then to really like test yourself, both as a horseman and as a competitor in general, was pretty special. So I'd say that it's billed as the world's longest and toughest horse race. And somebody asked me if I thought that was true, and I don't know how you get anybody to show up for a longer or tougher one. So I guess it's true.
That's a pretty good, a pretty good reason to think it's the toughest if you wouldn't show up for more.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you show up again?
I don't think I need to at this stage.
right? One and done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I mean, in the end, it's, you having lived it, it felt like many times it was like a movie. And the ending for me was like a movie. So it's like, there's no way I could top what happened. The way that, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but the way that the thing ended was just like, I'm not a guy that gets emotional that often, but
Right.
I broke down. I didn't break down into tears, but I definitely had to look away a lot at the end.
I'm
So
sure, and I do want to get into that. But before we do, what I want to do is get into the beginning, because I remember sitting here in my house with you, and you said we were having dinner, and you say to me just casually, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go to Mongolia and do the race." And I was like,
yeah.
"What? Why would you want to do that?" So my question to you is, why would you want to do that? Like, what what was the motivation saying this is something you want to do?
Well, I feel like it's on brand. You know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Um, I love I've always loved cross country riding. It actually started a lot the idea, not the idea, but the seed was planted, when I was probably 30 years ago, when I was hacking around Tamarack Hill Farm with Denny Emerson, and he used to talk about like the old school Pony Express, and how like those were like the best cross country riders. Like they had no support, and they were like wiry, just brave cross country riders that went on forever. And like that was always kind of what I wanted to be as an eventing competitor. But it always kind of stuck to me as like that'd be a really cool thing. I used to tell Amber that I was born in the wrong time. Like maybe my skills would be more useful before the car. I'd be like a race car driver. So when that came up and it was like part of the Genghis Khan postal system, I think all of that was like already in my psyche from a long time ago. So that all seemed really cool. And then at the time, I wasn't really doing that much that was horse related or competitive. So I was kind of looking for an adventure. Now, after I was accepted, like 2 years later, I had 20 horses at home, and I was competing and doing a lot more with horses. So as the competition actually came as I started to come to Mongolia, really the last thing I wanted to do at the time was to leave my family and kids and all my horses and come here. But Amber essentially kicked me in the butt and told me to get on the plane. So it was nice to have that family support as well. But I think ultimately at the beginning it was like the adventure of testing my ability to go fast and ride horses without much support. I think that was like kind of a cool. And I've always done Spartan races and things like that. I've always been really into fitness, so I felt like it was set up well for me. But you don't know how you're going to do. I mean, there were guys that were Royal Marines that almost died of heat stroke. So it's like it's not just riding, because there are a lot of good riders that couldn't do it physically, and then it's not just about it's like a certain quality of grit, and the people that were successful, you wouldn't necessarily pick out of a lineup and say, oh, these are the people that are going to win. But it was really a true test of like all things horses, plus like a physical danger element that was really quite interesting. And I'm really happy I participated in the end.
So my last question about the prep, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rick to go on from there. When you found out, okay, this is the year I'm going to do it, this is what I'm going to do, you're a fitness guy. People who maybe don't know you wouldn't know that if they saw you, they'd know for sure. But if they didn't know you, you're always working out and exercising. But what was what did you do to get yourself physically ready for this? Was it just your normal stuff? You're ready to go because you're always fit, or did you have to do some more stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I did a lot less heavier weight. I did a lot more. I started. I made my whole team go back to working out every day like I used to do when I was competing, which they
So you
loved.
tortured everybody because you were torturing
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, when you're in charge, my name was on the gate, so I can do whatever I want. And so uh, so Pollard Eventing started all exercising again together. But I was building the workouts myself, and it was a lot less. I used to do CrossFit really heavily, and it was a lot less CrossFit centered and a lot more calisthenics and weight loss centered. So I did 15 to 20 minutes super high intensity body weight and sort of body weight, kettlebell swings, those kind of exercises, full body exercises that were high rep, kind of low impact. Basically, trying to make yourself feel like you wanted to die in 15 or 20 minutes. And then I rode, I probably averaged 7 or 8 horses a day during that time period. During the I started in January, really a much more tailored training. And then I really did a lot of calorie restrictions in that last 4 months in order to get down to the weight, because I was walking around from my CrossFit days at about 180, and had gotten much stronger than I was when I competed. I never competed in eventing really past 160. I never got over 160 when I was riding advanced. So, I'd gained 20 pounds, mostly of muscle. I'd like to think that anyway. And, so I dropped a lot of that weight. And probably lost another 10 pounds on the race in the meantime. But yeah, so I really all the sugar in the house got cut out. So basically, I made everybody else's life miserable so I could do the race.
Well,
Sounds
it
about
seemed
right.
to work.
Yeah, it worked all right.
And so interesting, Michael, getting ready to go. I mean, obviously it's a historical race, and it does go back, as you mentioned, those horses go back in history for many battles and things that they've done over the years, centuries for that country. Tell us about the race itself. How many people were entered in the beginning?
Yeah.
And was it a staggered start, or did y'all all
No.
start at once?
It was all starting at once. That was, my strategy of the race was to find people early on that I thought that could teach me the things about navigation and things that I hadn't done before. And I just happened to be bunked next to Anna Bowden, who had won the Gaucho Derby in the past and was probably the best person at navigation and map reading there. So I was able to sort of connect with her and figure out how to do that kind of early on. And then it's not a staggered start. Everybody starts off the line. And I'd watched a lot of videos right before I came of the last couple of years, and like people crashing and burning. And then even in my test rides, we had a couple of test rides where we tested navigation and stuff. I actually fell in a marmot hole. That my only fall was a flip over of the horse in a marmot hole on my test ride on the second day of the test ride. So I was like very aware of the fact that as beautiful as the step looks and the fields look, if you get bolted with, I'd say like 60% of the horses would jump over the marmot holes no matter how fast they were running, but the other 40% would just like casually run straight into them. So and they're down, they're above the knee, and the ground is pretty soft, so it doesn't really hurt the horses if something like that happens. But it was something to be aware of all the time. So you were in sort of a galloping position, but you had your leg forward as though you were going down a drop. And I would keep kind of one hand like in a almost like a neck rein position, but more towards like if I were going to do a double bridge. And then I had the other hand on my navigation most of the time. So you're like, all of those things are happening all the time. And then on top of that, you've got what I would call it kind of like a goat rein, which is like a lead line essentially. You're then holding with the opposite hand, and that acts as like the thing that makes the horse go forward. So there's no real use. The leg doesn't really play a part at all. They kind of go forward from that goat rein moving, or from using your voice. So anyway, so everybody starts at the same time, and I was on a quite fast horse to start with, and the thing just completely bolted when everybody went initially. But that's not my first rodeo. I've been bolted with a lot, so I was able to get him back within kind of 200, 250 yards. But the first 200, 250 yards were a complete dead bolt and run. And then I put him back probably. My strategy was to get really at the back of the pack and then slowly work my way up in those first couple of stages. And so I ended up like fifth to last as I went through the first stage. Got kind of on the heading I wanted to go, and then just kept a nice even canter. And then that horse, because he was kind of competitive, would keep kind of picking people off, and I ended up probably going into the first horse station in like 6th or 7th place. I think there were 45 people that started, or 47 people that started, and then in the end, I think 25 finished still in the race category, and maybe another 10 or 15 finished as adventure. So they kept riding, but they didn't do all the stages because they had something happen, or and then 7 or 8 people were medically asked to, had to stop for medical reasons.
And when that's amazing, number one, and all the thought process that goes into it. But at the station, so you switched horses at each station, correct?
Yeah.
At the 29 stations. So those horses were attended to the vets, and things were done with those, and you switched and went on. How long did you have at that station before you went on to the next?
Well, you couldn't start drawing for the next horse until you had gotten the horse had to be at 56 beats per minute heart rate, and then had to have good gut sounds, had to not have any major lameness, had to trot up, had to have no spur or bit rubs, like you get vet penalties for all those issues. So you basically, in order to facilitate all that, if you had the horse in a good rhythm, you could, my strategy after about 3 horse stations of kind of figuring things out, I would get off the horse at 2 kilometers, undo the tack, loosen the girth, walk in from 2 kilometers. I would have all of my I'd have all of my navigation stuff, and I'd look at my maps and everything while I was walking in. If I had to pee, I would pee on the way in. Let the horse, ideally you'd kind of let the horse have a drink at about 3 kilometers out while you were still on, trot into kind of 2, walk them in at, depending on how much the horse was blowing, you should be able to walk at a normal pace. If the horse was absolutely fine, maybe walk faster. If they weren't great, maybe let them walk a little slower, let them pick some grass. So you end up with a 20 to 30 minute window that you're walking in, so that ideally when they get there, they're able to just go ahead and take the temperature right away and you pass. Now, that didn't happen every time, but that was kind of the goal. Because if you didn't pass the initial check, then everybody that came in after you would put you at the back of the line for a recheck. So you didn't get a penalty unless you were there for 30 minutes trying to cool the horse down, and you couldn't get it down to 56 beats per, or 56 beats per minute. But if you were smart, you should be able to kind of cruise right through. Then once that horse is taken care of, you'd put it back with the herder in the corral. The horse had been watered. The horse had been had some water over the saddle pads. Then you would have your bridle. Once you had your bridle and your tack in hand, then you could draw another horse. For me, my process was that until the last day, essentially, I had 3 liters of water and electrolytes in my pack at all times. And so if I hadn't finished my 3 liters, I would try to finish that 3 liters on the way of the walk in, and then I would refill that water and then go immediately to the draw. And then your next horse was like, you'd start praying for the next horse, essentially, because I mean it really determined. I mean, you could be out in a leg for 2 hours barely moving because the horse wanted to go so bad, and you come right in and the horse is totally fine, or you could be out there for 4.5 hours walking 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers in, and really struggling because the horse just wasn't doing it, or because you didn't get along with it. Like, I would love to say that I got the most out of every single horse, but I'm sure that there were a couple of horses that somebody else could have gotten on and done a better job than me. So you really were. Again, I'm not normally not that emotional, and I'm normally I struggle with spirituality sometimes, but I promise you, I prayed for 4 days straight in this competition. So anytime I wasn't thinking, by the last 4 days, anytime I wasn't thinking about what I needed to do specifically in my race, I was praying for nothing to go wrong, and I was praying for help with getting the right horse or not falling in a hole. I mean, you no matter how well you're doing, you're only 10 seconds away from disaster. And while you're not completely stranded with no one out there, if you want to actually keep racing, you really can't ask for help. If you ask for help, then you're going to be out of the race, essentially. So you felt, it's amazing how much more vulnerable that makes you when you've got your horse, you've got this goat rope that if you fall off, you got to hold on to. Otherwise, that thing's going to run all the way back to 20 kilometers from now, and then you're walking your way back. So you're just very aware at all times that things can go pretty terribly wrong, and that is that's both it feels amazing because you're so in the moment, but it's also consistently worrying. So, and I think that's why I was praying. It's like that took the worry away. What can you do? You're doing everything you can possibly do, and you're asking for help at all times and being thankful that you're there. So, that seemed to be that was the magic for me. Anyway, I really, when I started at my main goal was to be able to keep laughing the whole time, and I think I achieved that. I feel like that. I hope that the vets and everybody would say that I never really lost my temper about anything. I never did anything with a horse or to a horse that I wouldn't want everybody to see. I was really important. It was really important to me that I maintain good horsemanship to the standard that, regardless of what the local culture is, it was important to me to maintain the horsemanship that I would be proud of, and then to treat everybody with respect, regardless of how things were going, and keep a good attitude. And I hope everyone around me felt like I did that, because I certainly feel like that was the thing I was most proud of in the end, anyway.
That's amazing, Michael. And I just listening to you, I think you've expanded just your whole philosophy inside your head of confirming what you feel good horsemanship is. And this race, I think, brought you a couple things from what I hear. It brought you a little bit of spirituality, whatever that is. And it brought you into confirmation of you as a horseman. I think that's great.
Yeah. I was, both those are true observations. I mean, the minute I started humbling myself and realizing that it wasn't in my control and asking God or the universe for help, I got it. And that was, I don't have any, I'm a super rational person. I don't have any good explanation for that. I just can tell you what happened to me, and my wife is a much more spiritual person. I'm always very thankful for her and her family's prayers. But when I humbled myself and asked for help myself, it came. And, I had a horse that just would not walk, period. I've taking it up a mountain. The darn thing just wouldn't go. I couldn't do anything. It's not like I was going to beat it. I tried everything to make it go. And I started praying, and I'll be damned if the horse didn't start walking. I can't explain that. But, and then when I walked it up the second mountain and I saw the horse station there, I just looked up in the sky and started weeping. It just hit me, I don't know. I can't, I would love to say that I had a rational explanation for any of that. Maybe I was just exhausted, but I just can tell you what I felt, and that's what I felt.
Well, good for you. I think that's awesome. Makes me want to cry.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of tears. I also had some hysterical laughter along the way, but I think the whole thing was just really emotional and in general, and you had both highs and lows. And I think anybody that was in the race knows exactly that feeling of peril, but then the super highs and lows. Everybody had that. Yeah, so
it almost makes me want to go and do it. Almost.
I was thinking as I was doing, I was trying to think of the people that I thought would really enjoy it. And you were definitely on that list.
I mean, it does sound pretty amazing. We'll talk. I don't think I could ever actually make the effort to do it, because I'm inherently lazy, but
you're not that far off. You really wouldn't take that much. I mean,
all right, well, we'll discuss it.
You got to remember, you're basically training for it all day long, every day. Now, if you get there and you have a couple of the stages that are not fun, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. You'll hear. My favorite thing to do is complain. Ask any of the officials at events.
John, I got to tell you, I kind of wish that you would be the one that can do that, but I think you're more built for Lucinda Green's African Safari, where you glamp at night after you
I would like
miles.
I like a cozy hotel room and a nice bed.
It's not a hotel, but it's still fun. So
it looked kind of like a hotel. Let's do this. We need to take a break, check in with some of our sponsors. And then, Michael, if you're willing, I put out a little thing last night to our viewers to get some viewer questions. It'll be kind of like a rapid fire, answer some viewer questions. Some of them you've already covered, so we won't go through all of them, but we'll pop in a few of them rapid fire starting up the next segment.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, cool. Let's take a break. Thank you again to Equibrew, Rick. Thank you again to EquibrewUSA.com. Awesome live probiotic. You guys should try it out for all your horses. It just helps your horses with their gut health, which helps your horses with everything, makes all your other supplements get absorbed better and do better. So if I missed anything on that, Rick, fill it in.
You did great. I mean, Equibrew is a live probiotic from New Zealand. You got to have it. people are starting to figure it out in the US, and it's really catching on. So it's great stuff.
All right, we'll be right back with Michael Pollard.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Another thing I love about Jump for Joy is that the jumps are so easy to move. It takes me and one other person to make a whole new cross-country questions. No tractors needed. I've got a lot of different sort of questions I've been able to design with these jumps. Set up some really difficult angled hedges, bank out the water to an angled hedge, and have these really nice skinnies. And another great thing is they have these amazing flags, so the horses always understand the jump between the flags.
All right, so we're here with Sally Spickard, and I wanted to mention the new podcast, Go Eventing. Sally, it is going to be great.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to have bi-weekly episodes. We're going to have about 20 episodes for you in 2025. So we're very excited to have kicked this thing off, and would love for everybody to take a listen. So I think we'll all do a lot of the same things, but I think more podcasts in the eventing space especially is going to be really cool.
Yeah,
I really like the idea. And Will Faudrey is the first guest that you're having. What a great first guest to have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody out there need to watch or listen to your show on all the podcast outlets.
Yep.
And you can go to Eventing Nation's
EventingNation.podbean.com is the main podcast page. So you can listen to it there or on your favorite podcast platform.
Go Eventing.
Go Eventing.
Hey, it's John here. I just want to let you guys know I got back from schooling at Magnolia Sands Farm here in Ocala, Florida. Their cross-country field is perfectly suited for a first outing on a young horse or schooling your upper-level horse. Magnolia Sands offers over 110 jumps ranging from starter to intermediate, plus multiple banks, ditches, and waters. They're constantly updating their courses and have even added new ditches and a starter ditch wall. Conveniently located in Northeast Ocala, Magnolia Sands has made it easy for riders and trainers with online waivers, Venmo, and PayPal, and even offer a golf cart for guests. MagnoliaSandsFarm.com. Since 1950, Maison Forestier has been offering its know-how to design custom-made saddles for passionate riders. In 2016, Maison Forestier took a turn and expanded into the sports world with the goal of improving the performance of the rider-horse pair. You will find a professional, reactive, and fun team to answer your needs. And this is why I have chosen Forestier for all of my saddlery needs. Feel free to contact the saddle expert in your area for more information by visiting www.forestier.com.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are in this great episode with Michael J. Pollard and his...
Nope. J. Michael Pollard. You're thinking of Michael J. Fox, which is very similar.
I thought you said Michael J. Pollard.
No, J. Michael.
J. Michael Pollard. Jack.
That's right. I'm a junior.
I'll start over again.
No, don't start over. Keep going. I think it's great.
No, absolutely. J. Michael Pollard, are you going to make me look like a fool on TV?
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
People love
it. Okay, Jack, we're going to go on with the amazing race that you just got finished with, and I think John's got some fire questions for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So, Michael, we asked our audience to give us a bunch of questions. I think it's best if we kind of do this rapid fire. Some of them you've probably covered before. I'll try to filter through them as best I can, so we aren't recovering stuff. But I was amazed, not amazed. I was happily empowered that we got a bunch of questions for you in 8 hours. That's all I gave them the heads up. So the first one was actually here at my farm from Melissa Burdett. And she said her friend who did the Gobi Gallop said she had people doing the Gallop that also did the Derby. And she said that the competitors are not, quote unquote, all alone out there, as they are kind of made out to be, and wanted to know if that's true. So when you're out there, are you all alone, or is there other people around?
Well, there's definitely other competitors, but I promise you, if you are having things go wrong, you feel all alone. Now, they're medics, so if you have a tracker, and if you push medic assist or vet assist, if something's going wrong with the horse, or SOS, then you get a pretty quick response, and you do have the ability to message headquarters and say things are going wrong, and so it's not dangerous in the sense that you feel um, like help isn't on the way if something goes wrong. And but that can take, like, for example, Khalifa got kicked in the head when he was in the lead, lost his horse, and it was an hour and a half before anybody can get there, and it was a vet from one of the stations. So is that completely alone? No. However, if you don't know, if you do any of that, whether or not you're still going to be in the race. The medics are there to try to keep you going, but if you have something go wrong, then you're out of the race. So you hate to say this, but if you're super competitive and you want to win, the best thing you can do is to be quiet.
Right.
And the one thing I would say is that they really stressed horse welfare, and of course, as horsemen, you want to have great horse welfare. And 2 different times I had a horse, feel like it tread on a stone. The horses in general are like super, super tough feet, no shoes, on rocks. But I had a couple that took kind of weird steps. I walked them out. They never really felt great, and I called and got vet assist for those. The vets trotted them up, felt like that they needed some medicine, and I walked them in by hand, or a herder came and got them, and I got carried forward to a station. So, they are very proactive in horse welfare, but if you're having a hard time, their job is to try to keep you in the race if you'd like to stay in the race, but there's no assistance. Like, they're not, it's like tough. Like, for example, if you draw a horse and it's not the right horse, and it bucks you off of the station, you can redraw. You can redraw twice at any given station. But if all 3 are not something you can actually ride, it's like, well, you get to pick the 3 that you choose. Like, you don't get more.
Right.
So I think it's a very good mix of what is actually, like, not demented and unsafe and good for horses. And I never felt like that I could be. Well, that's not actually true. You could get permanently damaged or killed in this race. Period. You can. Like,
Right.
I've saw people get bolted with down hills, down rocky crevasses, and it's scary as hell. Like, it's like saying, is cross country safe? Well, I mean, they're medics there, but you can get seriously hurt. And so I would say, if the medics in cross country were an hour and a half away and you were doing it 12 hours a day, that's kind of how it was.
Okay. So first of all, awesome answer.
That
Second
took-
of all, I don't think you understand rapid fire.
Yeah, no, I'm not very good at that.
That's cool though. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So I'll go through the next one.
No, the answer is yes.
This next one is actually from my wife. She went on the John and Rick Show Instagram and had 2 questions for you. So I'm gonna ask them both, and you can answer them as you like. 1, did you get saddle sores?
Nothing terrible.
Okay, good. She had a second one, but we've already answered that. So this one, I think, is probably more for her than anything. How does your wife, Amber, deal with the crazy stuff that you do?
I guess she found me this way, so she puts up with it.
Right.
I don't know. I told her that her choice in men is questionable. I'm the only version of myself I can be, I guess. And she's I'm very, very thankful that I found a partner that wants to put up with it, I guess.
That's
Good
awesome.
answer.
All right. You're doing better. Good job.
Yeah.
Melinda Zilke asked, do you have any advice for someone who aspires to do the Mongol Derby?
I saw some people that were not totally prepared. I think you have to be far fitter than you think. I mean, I think I take fitness as seriously as any horse person I know, and I think that really helped me a lot in the latter stages of the race, or even in the beginning of the race, honestly. But you have to ride as many horses as you can possibly ride. No horse that you ride is one that you can't ride if you're getting ready for this Derby. Like, there will be some of the worst, rankest horses you can possibly imagine that you will have to get on. And so you need to not be worried about that. And then you need to be physically able to deal with that every single day, because the 28th horse can flip over on you just as easily as the first. So you need to be able to withstand that for 7 or 8 days in a row.
All right, I got 2 more, and then I'm turning it over to you, Rick, and then we can do the
Yeah,
next
good.
thing. So one from Robin Harder, who's asking, was it everything you expected or was it more? Because she has a friend who did it and said it changed her forever.
Yeah, I'd say that that's it's definitely changed me forever. It was very similar. I mean, you don't really know what to expect because you don't know how much of it is urban legend and myth and how much of it's real. It was exactly what I hoped it would be. I would say that the craziest part for me is the relationships you have with the other people at the end. For that group to the level of sportsmanship they showed at the end of the race, to allow me to go with them after I kind of drew a difficult horse, or a horse that just didn't really want to go as fast as I might have wanted it to go, and then for me to catch up a little bit, and then for all of them to realize that we had struggled days on end and we were way ahead of everybody else, and for them to sit and wait for me at the very end of the race was just, after I'd waited for them on certain other occasions, was just like was really the classiest thing I've ever been around with horses. And I mean, just really restored my faith in humanity. I'd kind of gotten to the point where as soon as I sort of said to myself, like, no one owes me anything. Like, doesn't matter that this didn't go well for me. Like, I've had a great trip. As soon as I got comfortable with the fact that I loved the people that I'd been riding with, and that they didn't owe anything to me, and they didn't have to wait for me. Like, I didn't deserve anything that they hadn't already given me. As soon as I came to terms with that, and I was willing to let it go, they were there waiting for me, and it just like broke me. It was amazing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that would have been like. That's just, I think I would have probably teared up myself for sure on that one. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Drop of my head.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to go more and more into that. And the last question from our viewers that I have, and then we're going to let Rick get to his, because I was interested in this, is Bianca Showalter wants to know what you ate and drank during the race, especially since you stayed with the locals. Like, what kind of food did they prepare you at the end of the day, and how was it?
Well, I had a joke pretty early on that this is like the original Hot Pockets. So they make the national food of Mongolia is like something that looks similar to an empanada. It's like a fried meat pie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. 8 days of them, every meal was maybe a little bit much, but so I would take, instead of like eating at the stations, I would get, the families were so sweet. They would wrap 2 or 3 of them up, and I would stick them in my pocket. And if I was on a slow horse, like if a horse that just didn't want to go and I had to give it more walk time, all the things that I, normally would have done, that most people were doing at stations, I would do on the back of the horse. So I would call those my hot pockets, and they'd be shoved in my pocket, and we'd eat those, kind of as we were going. And I think that's why they're the national food of Mongolia, because they're the only thing that you can possibly eat on a horse. So it was great. And then from the for the drink wise, I kind of covered that with the water, but I would do an LMNT salt sachet in every 3 liters of water. And I would go through 3 of those a day. I don't know if you know me, but I sweat like more than any person I know, like more than a human being should sweat. So that really helped me. I didn't skimp at all on drinking 3 liters per stage until the last day, when I just didn't have any time. And then I really felt that, like, you could see the difference in me after like being a little dehydrated by only having like 1 3-liter pack during the day versus all those other days. Now the last day, I mean, it didn't matter. I wasn't going to ride again, but just the difference in having a full course of water through the entire race made a huge difference. Like you really cannot. One other time when I had a difficult ride, I went an hour and a half without water, and I finally stopped at a family's house and was like, "Look, do you have any water?" I knew how to say water, and it was all So I said water in Mongolian. They came and brought out like a pitcher and put some in there, and I had to use the purification tablets. But you know, if you're hungry or you're thirsty, like your mind can't think of anything else. So I really focused on not allowing that to happen, and it helped a lot.
Cool. That's I think I would like Hot Pockets. That'd be all right. I could manage that for 8 days.
Yeah, it worked.
All right. All right, Rick, what you got?
Hey, so I went to dinner with Mary Beth Davis. She said
Awesome.
She said to say hello, congratulations.
Thank you.
She knows how everybody has to go and urinate, but she wanted to know, what about the other thing? Because that concerned her.
Well, I would say that they in Mongolia they use what is called a long drop, which is basically an outhouse without the outhouse. It's just the ground's pretty easy to dig in, so they have one shovel width thing that you just squat over. But I got to be quite honest, and this is probably more information than people want.
No, we want it all.
Okay, with that level, I mean, the amount of I was burning 6,000 calories a day according to my phone, and I was probably taking in 2,000 calories a day. So there wasn't a lot there, you know. And I finally, at the end of the race, I went to the bathroom, but I was also very concerned about gastrointestinal issues. So I didn't drink any of the local water without purification. I didn't really everything that was bottled I would drink without purification because I heard that the purification tablets sometimes upset the stomach. I really only ate things that were fried, which is against my normal sort of eating routine because I knew that they would be purified. And then anything else I ate was like a soup that was boiled. So I really limited the diet and I burned so many calories. I just don't think there was a lot of waste product to actually move. But in the end, I did probably go to the bathroom twice with the long drops. And you know, of the other hardships, it's just not really that big of a deal.
Right.
You know, Mary Beth, she just wanted to know. But
yeah, no, I get it.
On that point, when we were in Africa, Michael, and having the water issues and stuff that you have, my husband was super smart and packed Equibrew with us. So just so you know,
yeah,
Equibrew can be taken by humans, and we would take it and we feel better right away. So
yeah,
John, when you go.
Yeah, I was actually when you were reading the ad, I was thinking that there were a lot of people that should have been on Equibrew because the horses were fine, but I know that I would say in the back of the pack, I'd say I don't have a reason for this because in the front hardly anybody had that kind of a problem. Only Sam had one night where he was quite sick. But I would say that in the front of the pack, not too many issues, but I'd say the back half of the pack had a lot more gastrointestinal issues. I don't know why that is, but it was the case. There were several people that had the shukes and they were taken and had to be given fluids and taken off the course. So
yeah. So John, when you go,
what's
John,
that?
when you go, you take Equibrew with you, okay?
Yeah, I would have to for sure. I'm prone to that. Now I'm a little more concerned than I was earlier.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Rick, you got another one?
That was
that was the big one. That's a very good question I hadn't thought of.
That was a big one, but I want to go back. Are you done with your questions? Because I've got.
Yeah, no, I think we move on from that. That was a fun segment, so thanks for everybody for submitting your questions.
Yeah, I think I got alerted, Michael, when you're saying these horses when they're galloping, and this happened in the Masamara as well. You don't realize how in tune they are with the landscape. And when you were saying that they would see those holes that were coming up, they would jump over them. Some would miss them and go into them. But that happens on the Masamara too. It's just, I don't think people that are listening or watching, the equine horses in those different areas are amazing. I always go, if this was back, I don't know if the Mongolian pony would be one, but if you would have this one back in the United States for eventing, they would be amazing because in Africa, they're more Arab thoroughbreds. But
right.
Can you talk a little bit more for people listening that how did you just really appreciate what they could do and see when they were cooperating?
Yeah. So people early on were asking me like, oh, the horses are so small. How can they do it? And it's like, first of all, you're on these horses and they do not feel small. I can't explain that necessarily. I mean, I've ridden my kids' ponies at home and they feel pretty small. for whatever reason, these don't feel that way, especially if you're on one that is, you get some that are actually like they're race horses, which do 15 to 20 kilometer races, and they're like fast races at 15 to 20 kilometers. It's insane. So occasionally you'd get on one of those, and it feels like a 5-star event horse. Like I rode one in particular that did 3 different climbs, 6 kilometers each in a row, never breaking out of something at least 28 kilometers an hour, like fast. And and never broke stride, easily would pick its way down the hill and then go again in a hand gallop, like 600 meters per minute, like I would do on course if I were going advanced. So those horses are, and then you're talking about like they know when to like I hit bogs, like I'm talking really deep, like over my knee bogs on occasion. And these and like the good horses would just like climb their way through, get to the other side. Like they're not bothered by it. They're not freaking out. They're hitting like these crazy rock formations, and they're like picking their like almost like cantering. They're picking their way through with their feet. They're like, I think that people underestimate the horses because of their size and what we're used to. But these horses are like thousands of years bred for the steppe. They're not bred for any other sport. They're bred to go fast across that landscape. And they're big men riding these horses. I mean, the Mongolian people are not small people. They're big people. And they're perfectly suited for this landscape, and the stamina that they have and the toughness they have. I mean, it gets -40 here, like in the winters. These horses are out in herds without blankets, and it's in the summertime it's almost 90 degrees. So imagine the toughness of a horse, that they're having that level of high and low on landscape that like is. I mean, my horses would be dead out here in 15 minutes. Like it's like it just, it's like they're just perfectly attuned to what is needed. And that I think part of the thing is that like they don't want them too tame. They need them to be a little wild. Like otherwise they don't live. So I think that it's not a question of, people were asking me like, oh, the horses are too small. And it's like, okay, first of all, you've never ridden in Mongolia. Like, and the answer to that question, I think, is or the answer to that criticism is first seek to understand and then to be understood. It's like, come out here and ride these horses and see if anything you've ever ridden could do better than these. Because I promise you, they will not be able to do it. Like they are perfectly attuned to the hardship of this environment, and it's really a beautiful thing to be a part of.
That's beautifully said.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well said. Okay, Michael. So we've touched on it twice. You got into it pretty good, but the finish of this, I just want to go, if we can, back to that again, because that is, I mean, this whole story is amazing, but that was the powerful thing to me is like, I can imagine it, and it's magical to hear how that all wound up. I would love to think that I would be like those three and be like, let's wait for Mike. But I feel like there's a good chance I might have been like, see you later, buddy. I hope you're okay. I'm going to go win this thing. And off I go. So take us through what that was like. Cause you're, like you said, you kind of didn't give up, but in the last moment, it sounds like you kind of resigned yourself to this is what's going to happen to me. And then go from there.
Yeah. Well, I just was trying, I mean, all I can do, I knew that you really these horses need another horse often to give 100% of their effort. One horse out of 10 doesn't need another horse if it's like a racehorse. But for the most part, they go so much better in pairs or in groups. And so my whole strategy had been to make sure that I was the best teammate that you could possibly be, that everyone would want me next to them for their horse, regardless of whether I was on a fast horse or a slow horse. So I really focused on doing that. The day before, I guess the story kind of starts the day before. Khalifa had been out in the lead for a couple of days. Anna and I had been chasing him. We'd kind of gone back and forth. There had been some kind of animosity earlier in the race between Khalifa and Anna and I. And I won't get into all of that right now, but there was definitely some like, it wasn't a lack of respect, but it was like some slightly difficult blood because we were both trying really hard and things got a little heated in a couple of conversations. So there was like that tension already, and we kept going back and forth. Khalifa had gotten in the lead. Anna had a vet penalty. I had a difficult horse, and so now Anna and I were about 2.5, 3 hours behind him. But then he had 4 legs, 5 legs on his own, and that, I'm telling you, is a butt kicker in this race. If you have that many legs in a row on on your own, I mean, he had 8 falls in 40 hours, kind of out in the lead. And was kind of broken. I mean, he got kicked in, he lost his horse, he got kicked in the head. So finally, after all of that, we overtake him on, the second to last day, I think. And so we think, okay, that's got to be it for the most part. Issa, his friend, had 2 vet penalties, so is now 4 or 5 hours behind. We're not getting any updates as to where everyone is. So we haven't seen him in 2 days now. Khalifa got kicked in the head, and he called medic assist. So we're thinking that we're now going to be way ahead. So we get through that stage. We kind of get to the next one. We've galloped. We're going fast. We gallop 15 kilometers and then give our horses a drink. And I'll be damned if Khalifa's not right behind us. And he goes, and he like looks at us and he goes, "Guess who's back? Back again." And I was just like, dude, I mean, just like the most respect. I was like, this guy, like, you cannot shake this guy. Like, he is the toughest mofo on the planet to fall off 8 times and be ahead like that, like almost give up, kicked in the head. So anyway, so then we like right in that moment, we're trying to gallop to horse station 25. There was no camping between 25 and 26. So we knew we were kind of stuck there. So we were all going to get a break. We gallop right into a thunderstorm 5 kilometers from the end of that stage. It's like sideways pelting rain, 60 miles an hour. And like, I'm on a black stallion. It was just like straight out of a movie. It was like out of Hidalgo, with like the Arabs and the white people fighting against each other. It was just like so crazy. And then like we had this moment after he kind of broke the tension with his humor. And I just couldn't help but laugh. And even Anna was like, by that point, was laughing. And so we're just getting pelted together in the rain. Nobody had time to stop and put rain jackets on. We're heads turned sideways so that the helmet's like taking the brunt of the rain. And then like everyone just spontaneously starts like hollering as we're going down this mountain. Like we're like going 30 kilometers an hour, like flying down this road on good horses. All of a sudden, like rain stops. We're like 3 kilometers away. Rain stops. Sun comes out. Double rainbow right over top of us as we're galloping into camp. It was just like, wow. This is like, it doesn't get any better than this. So we're walking in, and I'm thinking to myself, like Anna and I were talking. We get to camp. Our horses pass the vet. And it's like, Anna, like 2 versus 1 tomorrow. We got 4 stages left. We're definitely going to be able to finish. But 2v1, we're going to be able to win this thing because, Khalifa, as good as he is, like 2 always beats 1. Like we've caught up 3.5 hours over these last day and a half because it's 2 of us versus 1. And I'll be damned if we don't find out that Issa, his buddy, who was like a day behind, had cut through the mountains straight over 5 mountain passes and was galloping in. And because we couldn't camp, we couldn't leave that station. And that extra hour and a half allowed him to catch up. So look, all I could do was like give him a huge hug and a cheer. Like that guy is the sweetest guy ever. Issa, he's amazing. He's amazing competitor, amazing rider. But like at the same time, now it's 2 versus 2. And so it's like really down to which horses you're going to get. Like we're now almost a day in front of anybody else. So we didn't really feel like anybody else was going to catch us necessarily, but it was going to be a heck of a finish. And, they got a little lucky that there was no camping 25 to 26. In hindsight, 25, 26 was actually one of the easiest stages, the fastest, and we could have actually made it if we'd gone ahead and gone. But if we had been, say it took an extra 45 minutes, we could have been disqualified for riding too late. So it was like really, you had like it could have gone well, but it also could have been a disaster. So it was like much safer to stay put. But now it was 2v2, and it was very much still like we're going after each other. There's a huge amount of mutual respect, but we're definitely going to go after each other. Khalifa had all those falls. Issa he'd almost quit 2 days earlier because his feet hurt so bad and he'd gotten bolted with so many times, had a bunch of falls. They both had been kicked in the head at least once. We had the medic come to our tent that evening And we fell asleep listening to them talk to the medic about all their problems. And the medic talked to Anna and I. He's like, well, how are you guys? We're like, oh, we're good. We're happy. And so it's like, it was really funny. We were I was just like, the more he talked about his problems, the funnier I thought it was. And I was like laughing openly and like making fun of him, because like that, by that point, even though you're competing, you're friends, and there was just so much mutual respect, because no matter what, we couldn't shake him. And he's like, this guy keeps trying to break me, talking about me. He's like, because I was running to the water stations and he couldn't even walk. So he was like, so it was like a lot of mental games going on. So we get up the next morning, and immediately it's like on. We've all had good horses in the first stage. They took a mountain pass. We went around the mountain. And then within, 20, 30 minutes, we're all cantering down the mountain, like side by side. We get into that first horse station all exactly essentially at the same time. Nobody takes any water. We're back on the next horse again, like it is on from the very beginning. They actually got out of the horse station a little bit faster, but then Anna and I caught them within 3K. That it started to get a little bit hotter, so you started to slow down. But we did those two horse stations almost 45 minutes faster than we'd done any other horse station the whole trip. So like the pace was insane. So the very end of that, I definitely had the least fit horse of that station. And I think also it started to play, like going that speed, it started to play a little bit that I was the heaviest of the group. I'd gotten the most out of all the horses. I hadn't had any vet penalties, so I hadn't had any problems or reasons to delay, but I was coming in at like 75 kilos. Issa was 55 when he started. Khalifa was like 65, and Anna was probably 64, 65 also. So I was carrying quite a bit more weight, just naturally than everybody else. And that definitely, over those kind of distances, it starts to make a difference. While physically I felt fine, 10 more kilos for the horse to carry over 30 kilometers starts to be a lot. So anyway, so I jumped off my horse at 4K, and I start walking it in to try to make sure that I pass the vet. And that, for the first time ever, the two UAE guys kept cantering all the way in. And because of that, their heart rates were high. It took me longer to walk in, but their heart rates were high. So they didn't finish until after Anna had already gone. And Anna was on the strongest horse in that second leg. And I sort of said to Anna, like, look, I think the best play here is for you to go ahead. And she asked me as well. She's like, should I go ahead and like stay with them? And I was like, yeah, go with them, and then try to slow down the pace a little bit, if you can, so I can maybe catch back up. Then they all left out about 4 minutes before I was able to switch horses. And I was just like praying for a fast horse. So because 4 minutes is nothing in that race, but being on your own is really challenging. If you're not on a good horse, then you're going to keep falling back, because the three horses together will definitely pull each other along. So that third horse I got was a very nice, sweet horse. He didn't do anything dumb, but it just wasn't fast. So I got about 5K into that, and I'm like, oh no, this is a problem. Like, I'm gonna have to trot this thing the next 20K. And because if I'd kept pushing, he would have stopped on me. I'd have been walking in. I'd been an hour and a half or 2 hours behind. So I went to like the slowest dressage trot you can imagine. I'm just like counting down the seconds. Like, oh my, I'm now at 15 kilometers, now 12 kilometers. Now I would start looking and it'd be like 12.6, 12.2. It's like, that took way too long. So so by the time I got in and walked that horse I trotted all the way to 2. Everyone had gone already, and I realized I was like 20 minutes behind. But then I got quite a fast horse for the last leg. And so I did a 10 kilometer gallop, gave the horse water, picked up the trot again, was able to get him back into the canter, and then he's like in a really good rhythm. And the whole time I'm just like, man, I cannot believe that I just have, as much as I've worked, I've just lost it. And then I just gave it up. I was like, I didn't give up trying and going as fast as I could, but I just kept my same prayer that I'd been praying for 4 days, and just said, look, nobody owes me anything, like nobody owes me anything. And I'm just so thankful that I got the opportunity. I've done everything I can do. If Anna wins, then I feel like I helped her to victory, and that's a victory in and of itself. And if those guys that fell off 7 or 8 times and then came back and they beat me, then they deserve to win. Like, that's the way it is. Like, that's competition. And that's the moment that I saw them. I saw them like barely in the distance. I saw 3 riders, and I was like, what is going on? Like, did somebody hurt, or somebody, like, it was one of the horses lame? And as I pulled up, what happened essentially was that Anna had a stronger horse than Khalifa. Isa probably had the strongest horse, but Khalifa and Isa, or Khalifa's horse, was pretty tired. So if they had gone together, they wouldn't have been any faster than Anna's horse, essentially. And they all knew if they pushed in from there that they would have that they would probably have vet penalties. So they were all going to struggle to get through a vet check if they pushed hard. So and then I was on a horse that was fast enough to start catching up. So so then they decided that, look, the best thing for us to do, we've all fought, and like, there's lots of things that could have happened. We don't want to end on a note where some vet penalty keeps one of us from winning. Everyone has, like, we're right at the same level. We've done everything we can do to shake each other. We can't shake each other. And so we need to, it'd be great if we could all go in together. Everyone deserves it. And Anna sort of said, and Khalifa brought that up to Anna, and Anna said, yeah, I'm game for that, but it has to include, I won't wait unless Michael can join us. And Khalifa goes, yeah, they're like, of course, Michael should join us because he's fought with us the whole way. It's like really been the 2 of us against the 2 of you guys. And he deserves it as much as we do. And, they sat there and waited for about, 15, 20 minutes. And I didn't know this at the time, but my tracker had kind of fritzed on it. So they had, they really didn't know where, they couldn't really track anybody anyway. So the Khalifa is the whole time like, I don't know, maybe we should go. Like, what if he doesn't come the same way and then we're just sitting here and he thinks he is going to go past us. But, all of those things could have happened and none of them did happen. And it's like, it just was really, again, it was like an answer to prayers. And I didn't expect it. I certainly didn't, whether one deserves it or not is a totally different question, I think. But I tell you, it really broke me. Like, I just was, I was so thankful to be a part of it and to have people that recognize that how much effort I had put in and how much that I had helped all of them and that we really were equal in the end, meant a whole lot to me. It was really amazing and validating. And I hope someday, I can tell the full story in a book, or somebody makes a movie about it. Cause I just don't, I haven't seen many competitions that bring that kind of stuff out of people. And then for those of us with like it really was out of a movie. I mean, such different backgrounds, and then so much adversity from everybody, and then to show that level of respect in the end, and it was mutual. We had some pretty harsh words with each other about halfway through the race, and we really fought hard to beat each other for those reasons. And in the end, it was like mutual respect and love and a lot of laughter. And that's what sports should be about. Like, that's kind of the Olympic ideal, but to really experience that yourself is pretty amazing. And I'm just really thankful that I could be a part of it.
Wow. That's all I can say. Looks like you're writing a screenplay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm the right person to do it.
I hope it is a movie and not a book, because I don't like to read, but I'd love to see the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
John, it comes from the book to the movie. But
yeah, I'll have to wait for the movie from
Michael,
the book for sure.
I mean, wow, congratulations on all levels. I think it's
thank you.
Yeah, Michael, I think that's probably the perfect way to wrap this up, is the finish of the race. That was, I'm sitting here, I'm inspired now. I want to go out and ride, and we're just getting
I'm just
started here, so I can. You inspired me to be ready for this weekend. I've got the event. I'm going to pull out my inner J. Michael Pollard this weekend, I hope, and just be ready to be gritty and fight.
Well, I'm going to do Chad Hills next week, and I'm probably going to get a bad dressage and like have it all go wrong. So I'm going to bask in the glory of this victory for a couple more days. And then I'm going to get back to real life where I haven't been riding my horse for 3 weeks and it might not go well. So that's horses though.
Real quick, we should just mention that you have a great team at home that's keeping all those horses going, including your daughter Sterling, right? So
yeah.
thanks
Yeah,
to them, I'm
Sterling.
sure.
Well done.
Yeah,
And
Sterling's
let
been
me,
riding all my horses. She's awesome, and I feel pretty confident that she will eclipse any of the things that I do with horses. She will be eclipsing. She's really an incredible talent, and I'm so proud of just her work ethic and how much she takes care of everything in the horses and never complains. I mean, she's really all my kids are really incredible people, and I'm really proud of them. But she's the only one that really does horses, and she's just like an amazing horsewoman, and I'm so proud of her. And then I've got Kai and Emma, who are kind of the main people at home. That Kai kind of like takes care of all the properties. He's always like fixing fences or building new jumps. I mean, the kid he's a senior in high school, and you'd think he's already a business manager. He's going to be incredibly successful in his life, and he's doing intermediate now. Did his first intermediate right before I left, and then Emma Sherwood's my barn manager, another senior in high school, and she's like the most conscientious, great horsewoman. She wants to kill all the deers on the property, but all the deer on the property, but other than that, she's like the most amazing, one of the most amazing employees I've ever had, and super proud of all those guys. I got a couple of great other working students with Sophie, and great students in general, who all have given me a lot of well wishes and have kept the things afloat while I wasn't really there to help them so much. So none of these things happen without a huge team, and you know. Then my family, the other members of my family, my dad's been like the most supportive father that you could possibly ever want. In fact, sometimes too supportive. So anybody that knows him will understand what I mean by that. And
I
then
got it.
my wife,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got it.
then my wife Amber is like literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. She is the rock that all of this is built upon, and I can't thank her enough for taking care of everything. So my mom and just everybody, everybody's been so sweet and touching base with me, and it's really meant so much, and I'm glad that I did well, but I'm really feel great about the fact that I hope that I maintain the level of integrity and that they can be proud of. That's really was my most important thing in this race. It's very easy to let a race and competition like this start to degrade what you would like to be doing, and you really see how people really are in that level of extreme stress for that long, and then you get tired. And I really hope that I feel like I did, and I really am proud of the way I handled it, and I really hope that I've made my family proud. And they're the way that they've reacted to it, and the way that there's so many well wishes and things, and like it's been really amazing. Oh, and I have a special thank you, actually, while I have it, is from Fox Mill Farm in Oxford, Pennsylvania, and Ocala, Florida. I got to the hotel, and the lady checking into the hotel behind me right after the race was talking about her daughter's horse, and I said, "Oh, what kind of horses do you do?" And she was saying that she's a show jumper, and I said, "Oh, I do a little bit of show jumping, but I'm mainly an eventer." And she's like, "I'm from Pennsylvania, and I know Boyd Martin and Philip Dutton." And I was like, "Yeah," and Buck Davidson. Yeah, I know those guys a little bit too. She said, "Well, what's your name?" I said, "Michael Pollard." She says, "Oh, that's so cool." And she said, "Well, what are you doing here?" I said, "I was in the Mongol Derby." And she said, "Well, how'd you do?" And I told her that I won, and she like completely melted down. She was like the sweetest lady. She sent me a awesome bottle of champagne to my room and a beautiful like thank you note. Fox Mill Farm, you have no idea how much all that meant to me. Like it was amazing. So I wanted to send a special thank you to her.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll tell you, buddy. When you get to Ocala, there will be a bottle of champagne waiting for you in our pool house.
All right. Very good.
It
My
might be one
favorite
that you
show.
left.
My favorite
Yeah,
show.
yeah, exactly.
My favorite show, Michael, in 6 seasons. So thanks a lot.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm honored. You guys, I hope everybody can have the sort of experience I had. It was really life-changing, and I'm so happy to be able to share it, both with the people that I finished with and with the rest of the world. It really changed my life, and I hope it. I really became during this trip. I really appreciated how much horses have like saved me. and also the love of my family and my wife. You know, like I could have gone down some dark roads in the past, and consistently the love of my family and the love of horses have been the thing that have brought me out of the darkest times in my life. And I just hope that my story will help inspire other people to see the beauty in horses. And it doesn't really matter which sport you do. It's like they're life changing, and the nobility of a horse, no matter where they are or what they're doing, is like something that gets inside you. And I'm just so honored that I have that in my life, and I'm happy to share it.
I think we leave it there. Michael,
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
guys.
everybody, for watching. Thank you to Horse Trailer Pros for sponsoring this podcast, as always.
I'm going to go cry now.
Yeah, I'm done. We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.